So hi everyone, it's Liddy and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing part 2 of that unhaul video that I posted last week. It should be last week, and if you haven't watched that already, I'll leave the link somewhere down below, but go watch that before you watch this video. But basically in that video I did an unhaul of all my shelves and pretty much went by each and every shelf to see what I could unhaul, and we kind of did a scuffed read it or unhaul it type of video, but then I ended up kind of changing it around, and then we're doing part 2 of that where I actually read the volumes. Yes, I did. I actually really enjoyed it. Let's be in character. He's very good looking. That's pretty cheesy. Spoiler alert, he tries to protect a vending machine. It was really weird, taking itself too seriously. Strange, like, I'm done here. So what we're going to do in this video is we have a stack of manga that we chose in that unhaul video that we wanted to read to see if we like it, and if we don't, that's when we're going to finally unhaul those series. So yeah, let me grab all the series that we picked from that video. So as you can see, we've got a big stack of manga that we chose in that video so that we can read these and see if they are ones that we will keep or we will unhaul. But yeah, let me go through each of the volumes to show you which ones we have in our reading list for this video. So we've got some K-pop manhwa, which we've got is The Star Seekers, DARKMOON, and CHAKHO Fates, no, 7 Fates CHAKHO. And then we've got The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen, Villainess Level 99, 13 Exorcist, Lovesick Ellie, I Was Reincarnated as the Villainess in an Otome Game, Wandance, Josee the Tiger and the Fish, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, Reborn as a Vending Machine, Case Files of Jeweler Richard, konoSuba, As Miss Beelzebub Light, I'm the Catlords Manservant. So those are all the volumes that I need to read in this video. Obviously, I don't think I'll be able to read it in one day, but it'll probably be kind of a vlog style where I take you along with me throughout the week, maybe even 2 weeks, and try and read the volumes and see if I do like them, or if I don't, I will unhaul it. So we will see if we will read it or unhaul it. And to make the video a little bit more fun and interesting for me, I'm going to be putting all the volumes of manga on a piece of paper and dropping them in this kind of jar. So it'll be like a TBR jar that a lot of like booktubers do, and I will be picking from this jar on what I am going to read in each of the segments. So let's go do that. So I'm going to grab one now and see which one is going to be our first read for this video. Okay, I got one. Let's see what it is. It is... oh! So the first one, I ended up just shortening the titles because some of them were so long, but the first one is, if it focuses, this one. So we picked out this one, The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen from Villainess to Savior. So this is the first one we're gonna read today. So yeah, let's get reading. So I just finished The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen, and I actually really enjoyed it. This one kind of follows the generic villainous isekai trope of a girl who ends up dying and then she gets reincarnated as a villainess in a story that she is aware of, and then she gets reincarnated as this girl called Pride, and she is a princess on the way to becoming a queen. And in this family, the women are the ones who take over the throne, not the men. And so this girl Pride Pride, who is actually the villainess of the story, ends up having these really cool powers called precognition, which means that she can tell the future or have visions of the future. Obviously in the future, in 10 years time, she is gonna be like a really evil person, and she does like horrific things and becomes a really bad queen. And then later on, her sister Tiara, who is the blonde hair girl, will end up saving the day and then obviously taking over the kingdom, and then Pride will be killed basically. She ends up knowing that that's going to happen, but then still tries to change her life and change the fate of her future by, you know, turning over a new leaf and becoming a better person. And so she ends up, you know, becoming really close with her adopted brother, who ends up really becoming her confidant and pretty much her most reliable person. And then she also is really good friends with her sister as well. And then it's basically a journey of her looking to become a really good queen and support, you know, the kingdom that she is responsible for. I really liked the first volume actually, so I'll definitely be continuing it. It is apparently dropped in terms of the manga format. There was only like 3 volumes and they ended up dropping the manga version of this. So if I do really continue enjoying the manga, then I might even pick up the light novels. So yeah, this one was a really great first read. Hello, Akko. Do you want to help me choose my next read? Okay, he does. Let's see what you pick for me. Alright, we're going to pick our next one with CHAKHO here. Let's see if we get a good one. Alright, we got... Oh, another villainous isekai. Lovely. So we'll probably be able to directly compare the one we just read with this one. So let me get the book. So this is the one that was picked. It's I was reincarnated as the villainess in an otome game, but the boys loved me anyway, volume 1. And these spines are pretty ugly, so that's why I wasn't too mad about getting rid of it, but we will try reading it first. So I just finished I Was Reincarnated as the Villainess in an otome game, but the boys love me anyway. And I also actually really enjoyed this one. Surprisingly, I didn't actually expect to like it that much, and I've heard a lot of people as well say this one is alright, but I actually really enjoyed it. And it does follow the same kind of generic formula as all the villainous isekais, like I said in the first one we read, but it follows a story of a girl who ends up dying, and then she gets reincarnated into an otome game that she used to play, and she gets reincarnated as a villainess who is called Mystia. And Mystia actually, when she's young, is not evil at all. She's really kind, caring. She's one of those people who ends up feeling bad for people and then bringing in lots of strays from the street because she wants to help them, and then pretty much begging her parents to hire them as like servants in their estate because she is from a noble family. And somehow the events turn around, and then she does end up becoming the villainess and the main antagonist to the main character in the game. And Mystia in her new character obviously tries to avoid that fate and is trying to like avoid things that happen in the storyline so that she doesn't actually, you know, end up turning evil and trying to avoid those things. And she is also engaged to this guy called Raid, and then she's also wants to try and break that engagement from him so that she doesn't, you know, end up turning evil, because he is part of why she becomes evil or something like that. This story actually follows her from when she's quite young, so we're not at her being in high school or older yet. This volume 1 focuses on when she's young and some of the history behind her story, and it's just really fun. And also there was actually a lesbian character in this story, which I was really surprised about. There's this girl called Mello who is her like lady in waiting. So she has like this lady in waiting called Mello, and Mello is actually in love with Mystia, and Mystia also really loves her as well. But they always are like, oh, if I was a man, then I would have married her. So there's like hints there. And then Mello is obviously like, you know, I wish I was a nobleman so that I could, you know, marry her. So there was like that kind of like Yuri, a bit of Yuri in there, which I was and really like happily surprised about. So that was really good. I didn't expect to like this as much, and considering the wines are so ugly, I didn't expect to keep this, but I will be definitely keeping this and continuing it because I really like the story, and I think I enjoyed this actually more than the one we read just now, the heretical Last Boss Queen. So, and I think because I read them back to back and they have kind of a similar theme, obviously being a villainous isekai, that I can definitely tell that I like this one more. So I'm definitely keeping this one. So we got 2 good ones so far and no unhauls just yet. But yeah, let's pick the next one that I'm going to read. I got my cup here and then we can pick one. And I got... Okay, so we got Teen Exorcist. I don't know if you can see it. Teen Exorcist, which will be the next one we are going to read. So it's pretty much all been shoujo at the moment. I don't actually know if this is shoujo or not. I don't remember, but... yeah, we will read this one next. So I actually finished The Teen Exorcist just now, and this was actually a really fast read, but also this character at the front, I thought it was a girl, but it's actually a boy. And this story focuses on a boy who is basically training to become a exorcist, and his grandfather is a really well-renowned exorcist as well called Seimei, and he always gets kind of, I guess, compared to his grandfather. So when he does something, he's always like, oh yeah, of course you'd be able to do that because you're Seimei's grandson. And so he's always pretty much had this kind of reputation held over his head, mainly because of his grandfather's reputation. And so he's always out to try and prove himself to become an even better exorcist than his grandfather was, so that he will stop being compared to his grandfather, or basically his name being used alongside his grandfather's name. And yeah, so he ends up pretty much exorcising things. There's loads of yokai, bad spirits, evil spirits that he is on the hunt to exorcise and protect people. Yeah, it was okay. Honestly, it was really easy to read for sure, and so very digestible. There is a really cute character in here, like a little animal that actually turns into a human-like form and is very very good looking. If I can show you, he's very good looking, and yeah, it was okay. Personally, I'm not really sure if I will continue this, so I might actually unhaul this one and give it to someone who might enjoy a lot better than me. I'm actually not, from my experience of reading, enjoyed a lot of yokai spirit type stories. Like, I didn't really like Kami-sama Kiss, I didn't like Kakuryu that much, and this one obviously, you know, didn't grip me as much. Like, it was fine reading it, but I wasn't super enjoying it when I was reading it. I was just reading it to read it pretty much. And there is a hint of a potential romance in this story as well, but yeah, it's not something that I really want to continue reading. So yeah, this might be my first unhaul of the video. Yeah, so I'm going to pick my next read, and you guys are currently sitting on top of the TBR jar, so I'm going to grab it from you guys now. So we got... Okay, so I got the really big one, which is one of the big chunky ones. I got Josee, the Tiger and the Fish, which is one that's probably been on my TBR for the longest time. I think it was one of the first volumes of manga that I bought when I started this channel. And yeah, so we're gonna read that now. But yeah, I might find a little bit more of a comfier spot to read my manga, because this one is going to be a big one. So yeah, as you can see, very chunky, very big volume. So yeah, let's finally read this. I'm going to actually check when I hold this on my channel and see how long it's been sitting on my TBR. So I ended up sitting at my desk and finished reading this big chunky volume. It was actually really easy to read, and the stunning art in this story really helped capture some really beautiful moments. Let me show you. So that was some of the stunning pages that you get to experience when you read this story. After reading this, actually now I am really interested in watching the movie, because I think it would be a lot more emotionally charged than reading it. And I think coupled with the music and with the animation, I think this really would work well as a movie. So I definitely want to watch the movie now and see how it is. I do feel like this story would be more poignant in a movie format, and I feel like when I was reading it, I didn't feel as much emotions that I thought I would be feeling, and that probably the story was trying to invoke in the reader. So I think I will probably unhaul this one, mainly now because I have read it and I did like it in some aspects, but I don't think I will reread it, and I'd rather watch the movie and see how I feel about the movie instead, because I feel like I will definitely feel more emotions watching the movie than I did reading it. But yeah, this one is basically about a college student called Sunio, and he is working really hard, doing lots of part-time jobs so that he can save enough money to study abroad. And he's even been learning Spanish so that he can study abroad in Mexico to learn diving, because he loves oceans and he loves diving and sea creatures and things like that, and that's his dream. And then one day he meets this girl called Josee, and he catches her basically flying off her wheelchair because she can't walk, and they end up meeting, and then her grandma ends up hiring Sunio to basically look after Josee and be her friend. But it's kind of done in a way where she's like, I'm hiring you to basically listen to my granddaughter and do whatever she wants. And so they start hanging out and growing closer together. And then Josee ends up kind of discovering more of herself and the things that she actually wants to do despite her disability in her life. Definitely, spoiler alert, it does have a happy ending. I thought this might not have a happy ending, but this one actually does have a happy ending. So I was quite surprised about that. And yeah, it kind of just follows a coming of age story of both these characters and going through some of the struggles in their life, and some serious struggles actually at one point in the story, and how they overcome that together. And so I think it is a very good story, a coming of age story, but I definitely believe that I would enjoy this more in the movie format, especially since it kind of reminds me of, I guess, the way A Silent Voice was done. I really didn't enjoy reading the manga, but then I really enjoyed the movie, and the movie really left a lasting impression on me, more so than the manga did. So I think I will feel the same about this story. So yeah, this was probably gonna go in my unhaul. But yeah, I've read 4 volumes of books so far, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Sorry if you can see like loads of hair on my t-shirt. Suki was there earlier, as you might have saw, but yeah, I'm gonna pick another manga to read today, and we'll see if I'll have time to read another one or 2 more, but yeah, let's pick one for now. So I got my jar here, and I'm gonna not look, and I'm gonna pick one. And we got, finally got a K-pop manhwa to read, and this one is DARKMOON, and yeah, this will be the first one of the K-pop series that we read today. So yeah, I'm not holding high hopes for the K-pop manhwa series, mainly because I feel like it's gonna be really cheesy, but yeah, let's try this one out. So I finished DARKMOON, The Blood Altar by Hybe, and as I expected, it was pretty cliche, quite cheesy, and definitely not one that I will probably continue reading. And I know this is basically a K-pop manga, so a lot of the characters in here are actually from a K-pop group called ENHYPEN. I think that's how you say it. I actually don't know that group that well, so it probably didn't excite me as much as it might if you are a fan of that group. But all the characters in here I think are based off real people in that K-pop group. And yeah, this was pretty cheesy. It's very much a reverse harem where there are a bunch of popular boys falling in love with one girl. But this story focuses on a character called Suha, and she has really, I guess, interesting abilities. She has like super strength and can defend herself, and a lot of the times because of this ability, a lot of people have suspected that she might be a vampire. So a lot of people have, you know, caused rumors about her and also pretty much stayed away from her and feared her like all the time when she's been growing up. And then one day she gets admitted into this high school, which is very prestigious and also pretty much kind of has a very strict regime in which they do not allow vampires in. So they test you for being a vampire, and if you're not a vampire then you get admitted. And then she gets entered there and is like really happy, and then she runs into this guy called Ellie. I think that's what his name is, Ellie. And he is part of a group of 7 boys who are from like an orphanage, and they also have special abilities, and they are actually vampires, and they are in this school, and they start to have a weird like physical attraction towards the main character Suha, and they obviously can't explain why they are having this like pull towards her. It's just something about her that is pulling them towards her, and so she ends up becoming like really good friends with them. And somehow she has like this super strength, but she also ends up always becoming a damsel in distress, and these boys always come to save her at the end of the day. So that's also something that I was like, oh yeah, it's so typical. And the story itself not very complex. It's very much fluffy. It's just a lot of fluff, and all these boys who are like have this pull towards her are always trying to, you know, stick to her and want to be around her. And even though she doesn't like vampires, she obviously doesn't know that they're vampires. And so yeah, it's probably gonna focus on going forwards her later finding out that they're vampires, and also finding out what it is about her that is so special that makes all these guys want to hang out with her and be pulled towards her. So yeah, as I expected, didn't enjoy it that much. I don't think I'll be continuing this one, and I don't really look forward to the other ones that I'm going to be reading from this K-pop manhwa series, mainly because apparently this one is the best one out of all of them. So apparently Star Seekers is like really cheesy, and Seven Fates CHAKHO is a little bit as well. I expected that I wouldn't really love this, but yeah, I think I'm glad that I didn't pick up any more volumes of this, because I think I would have been a little bit sad. But yeah, I think this one is going to go in my unhaul. Yeah. Sorry to the ENHYPEN fans. Alright, we're going to pick another one and see if I will be able to read another one. It is currently 11:30, so I might save the one that I pick for tomorrow, but we'll pick it for now. I don't know why I keep looking in the jar. Alright, we got... Oh, okay, it's a big one. So yeah, I might save this for tomorrow. So I got... Can I eat your pancreas? It isn't the other chunky one, which is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, the complete manga collection. So I think this one, like Josee the Tiger and the Fish, was also one that I picked up a long time ago. So I definitely need to read this. And because it's a chunky one, I will maybe start it today and see how it goes. But I heard this one is quite sad. And I think there is also a anime movie on this. I will predict that I might feel the same way as I did with Josee, where I read it, don't feel as emotional about it that I should, and maybe prefer watching the anime movie instead. But yeah, we shall see how this one goes. Hi guys, so it's the next day now and I woke up with this kind of weird scratchy throat feeling, so I'm not feeling great, but I did manage to finish I Want to Eat Your Pancreas earlier today, and as I predicted, I definitely feel like this would have been more enjoyable as a movie, so I will probably, just like Josee, watch the movie of this and see how I feel about it in that format. I do think this story it definitely is one of those stories where a guy who is kind of like in a silent voice, pretty much isolated from people, doesn't really bother getting to know anyone, and no one really makes an impact on his life, and then suddenly a girl comes into his life and then makes an impact in his life, and then, spoiler alert, once she dies or something bad happens, then suddenly his life has meaning and she has changed his life for the better. So it kind of has that kind of trope in it. It was a story about a girl who basically has a illness in her pancreas. They don't really mention exactly what the disease is, but she has a pancreas disease that is eventually going to kill her. So she doesn't have much life left, and then her classmate, who is really just kind of isolated, doesn't really get to know anyone, ends up finding her diary and finding out that she has this illness, and then they end up hanging out and getting closer together because he's the only person apart from her family who knows that she has this illness. And then, obviously as they start hanging out and things like that, he starts to, find meaning in his life, and after she does pass, he starts to change, and become more sociable, or try to become more sociable, and, make friends when he didn't before. Another spoiler is that it was really weird how, obviously, I expected to go into this thinking that she would die at the end of the volume because of, the content in it and the way it started, because the volume actually starts with her funeral picture. So this is like the first page, so you kind of expect that she's gonna pass away, but there is a twist in the story where she actually doesn't pass away because of her illness, but because someone kills her and she gets murdered. So that was like really, I guess, shocking, and I was a bit like, what the heck, that's a bit weird. So I guess that was a twist in there, but I feel like it made it a little bit less emotionally impactful because she just suddenly died when she was already going to die, kind of thing. So yeah, I found that a bit weird. So yeah, I think in terms of this story, I am probably going to unhaul it and then enjoy it through the movie format instead. So yeah, let's pick another one we'll try and read today. I don't know how much reading I'll get done, but I am kind of in my bed now because I'm not feeling too well, so I might actually be able to read more. So yeah, let's pick one. If you can see, hopefully you can see, but I'll do it here. And then we'll pick one. So our next read is going to be... Okay, so it will be the isekai, one of the isekais, and it is the vending machine one. So I think it's that I was reincarnated as a vending machine. So we're going to read that one next. got Sticky here with me on my lap, so hope you enjoy some extra cat content. But speaking of cats, we actually read 3 books since I last filmed. So obviously, because I basically was in a reading mood, so I decided to pick, as you saw, 2 in a row. And then, oh, Suki's gone now. Bye. And so the first one I read was Reborn as a Vending Machine. Now I Wander the Dungeon, and I actually really enjoyed this one. This one's basically about a guy who is pretty much obsessed with vending machines when he was alive, and then he actually ends up getting killed because he tries to protect a vending machine. So he risks his life to protect a vending machine, and then he dies, and then he gets reincarnated as a vending machine, which is really ironic. He's pretty much stranded on this one area because he's a vending machine. He can't move, he doesn't have legs, so he's stranded. But then this girl ends up coming by because she was in the area, and then manages to kind of communicate or figure out how to communicate with this vending machine. She ends up pretty much taking him to her hometown, and then things start happening from there, where he basically helps them in this kind of battle by supplying them with like food and drinks and things like that through the vending machine. And the vending machine also is really interesting because he can use points that he gains from money that he gets from people using the vending machine and use them in like defense as well. So he can even like put up a shield, and that will drain the points that he's accumulated. So it has that kind of strange, I guess, stats element to it that a lot of isekais do. And so yeah, it was really, really interesting. Honestly, because there is only, I think there's only 1 volume out, and the second volume, I don't know if it's available, but the story itself is taking a long time to come out in manga format. And so I think that I will keep this, but I might not continue collecting it or holding out hope that this series is gonna hurry up, because even the light novel, they released 3 volumes and I think it got cancelled, and then now they're like releasing it again or something like that, but it's not popular clearly. So I might just enjoy the anime of this instead of trying to hold out for the manga version. I did like this one, so whether I will keep this or I will unhaul it, that's still a bit of a maybe at this point. So that was that one. And then I read, as you saw when I picked it, I got Wandance, and then I also got I'm the Catlords Manservant. And Wandance, I think this is also one of those stories which I think will be really good as an anime, mainly because when you see the dance movements like this, like you can't really see, I guess, the movement or hear the music whilst the movement is happening. And this is definitely something where if you hear the music whilst you're seeing the movement, it would work really, really well. I'm not 100% sure about the art style as well. I don't know if I loved the art style. I feel like the heads are really pointy and the faces look a little bit too strange. Like if you look at this guy, hopefully I'm showing you, but the face and the head looks a little bit strange. So I'm not loving the art style, but this story basically focuses on a guy called Kotani, and he has a kind of trauma from his past where he did like a dance for a school. I think it was an elementary school, and then everyone watched the dance and he was so offbeat, but everyone was like laughing at him, and he became really traumatized from that. And then since then he's tried not to stand out so that, you know, people won't laugh at him and won't pay attention to him. So he's really trying to become in the shadows and not stand out from the crowd. But then he ends up seeing this girl doing breakdancing like no one is watching and really, really enjoying it. And then he starts to kind of get inspiration from that and then want to also try to dance again. And so he ends up joining the dance club with that girl, and then ends up starting to enjoy dance and also building up his confidence that he was lacking previously due to his traumatic experience that he had when he was in elementary school. It's kind of like a coming of age story, discovering your passions and also these friendships. And I have a feeling that there's a romance here as well, because he obviously fancies that girl. So personally for me, I will continue reading this series up until the volumes that I have. I have up till volume 3. So I will continue reading that and then seeing if I still enjoy it or if I enjoy it more, and then I'll probably decide if I want to get rid of it. So that's probably my verdict for this one at that point. And then the last one, I'm the catlords manservant. This one I am going to get rid of because this was probably the manga that I have least enjoyed out of everything that I've read so far. And yes, you would think because it has cats in it that I will probably like it, but I didn't really like it because this one focuses on this boy who his dad passes away and then leaves him with like a 50 million yen debt, and the debt is caused by the dad buying this mansion for these spirits, and the spirits are called neko, who are shape-shifting cat spirits, and these cat spirits are able to turn into like human-like forms, so they're shape-shifting, and they basically rule this house. And his father, who passed away, ended up taking care of these 7 cats that can shapeshift and bought this whole mansion for them and went into debt for it. So it's first the premise that's so annoying. Like, his father wasn't a great father figure, was always away, and then also made his mother like always cry and worry because he was like never around, and all he was doing was taking care of these like cat shapeshifters. Like, that to me is so stupid, so I hated that already. And then also the shapeshifting cats are just really not endearing, even though they can go in their cat form, and their cat form itself, they look cute, but the characters themselves aren't endearing. So I didn't really attach myself to any of them or like any of them. So that in itself, I don't like the characters. This guy as well is just like, I don't know, I don't really like the characters in this, and I didn't really like the story. And there was this climax at the end where there's hints at some other evil thing that's happening, but I was like done by that point. I wasn't really interested in it. So in my opinion, not really a great story, so I won't be continuing this, and I will be getting rid of it. So yeah, not my favorite thing that I read, honestly, in this pile. So this one was a big fail for me. And so yeah, but yeah, those were the 3 that I read recently, and now I'm gonna pick some more volumes of manga to read. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've read 9 things so far in this video, and I think we have about 7 more volumes of manga to read. So as you can see, this video is going to be a long one. But yeah, let's pick. You guys are also leaning against my cup, so let's pick what we're going to read next. And don't mind me, I'm looking really scrubby right now because I just came back from a shift at work, because I do work on Friday evenings as well after my main job. So the first one I'm picking is... Oh, okay, we got the other K-pop manhwa, Star Seekers. And then I'm going to pick another one just so that we can get through some more things. And the next one I got is Villainess 99. So these are the 2 volumes of reads that I'm going to be doing next. So yeah, let's get reading. So it's the next day now, and I am at my desk. It's a really nice day, and I have to go to work in around 2 hours, less than 2 hours now. So I'm hoping I can get another volume read for this video. And I also did read Star Seekers yesterday, and this is definitely not one that I'm going to keep because it was really, it was a bit cheesy. The story itself was a little bit all over the place, so it's definitely not one that I want to continue reading. And it basically focuses on a kind of world in which celebrities and musicians and famous people actually manifest a special type of ability, and the ability could be pretty much anything, but they manifest that, and that in itself makes them a lot more famous and a lot more stronger. There is this group that debuted around 3 years ago, and that group is based on the actual K-pop group Tomorrow X Together, and they debuted a while ago, but none of the members have been able to manifest a ability or a special ability, and so they've kind of fallen off the radar. No one really cares about them, no one really wants to watch them, so they're kind of losing out on any kind of sponsorships or being able to, you know, perform in places. And this main character at the front also is the son of a really famous celebrity who has very strong magical abilities, and then one day when they're like filling in for a performance because a really famous group couldn't make it, they end up getting to be like the backup people to perform. Something like happens where everyone is in danger, and then because this guy really wants to like save the day, he ends up awakening his magical abilities on that day, and so people find out that he actually has magical abilities. The group starts to become more talked about and more famous, and then they get more jobs and sponsorships and things like that. They run into some more intense situations in which the other members end up also manifesting their special abilities. So it kind of felt very reminiscent of the older shoujo magical girl series, where each of the members like one by one start to find out their magical ability and things like that. That's why I thought it was a little bit cheesy, especially because it felt like it was supposed to be so serious, but it was like taking itself too seriously considering like the art style and stuff. I don't know, it just wasn't for me. And I think if I was a fan of the K-pop band, then maybe I would have enjoyed it more, but I'm not really a K-pop fan. I'm more of like, if I like the music, I'll listen to it, but I don't really like stan certain groups. It's definitely not targeted at me, this one, for sure. So I think I will just let this one go, and hopefully someone who is a really big fan of this group will want the manhwa for it. But yeah, the next volume I need to read is Villainess level 99, and we only got 1 hour I guess to read this before I need to head off, so we'll try to read this today. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this kind of longer chatty video where you kind of get to know me and see, you know, some things outside of just me being like showing you hauls and stuff like that. I do really like filming this. Actually, it's been really fun filming this type of videos, so let me know if you guys are enjoying it and seeing a little bit more of an, I guess, casual, authentic version of me. Yeah, and obviously as you can see, I'm not like properly done up. I look a little bit scrubby, so yeah, this is like the true, I guess, what are we, friendship that we're developing here across the screen. So yeah, but anyways, let's try and read this one. I know this one is trying to do that world building element to it, but it is very dense in terms of like the speech bubbles and dialogue. It's very dialogue dense already, so it's probably going to take me a little bit of time to actually read this, because even looking at the future pages, there is so much dialogue, as you can see. Like, that is crazy dialogue. And yes, I know it's a book, so I don't know why I would be complaining about dialogue, but look at this. Like, that is so much dialogue in one page. Like, isn't that crazy? But yeah, let's keep going. So it's the next day now since after I filmed that little review of Star Seekers, and since then I have finished Villainess 99. This actually took me quite a bit of time to get through, mainly because of the dialogue heavy content, but I actually really enjoyed this one. In terms of this story, it also focuses on the same kind of trope that all the villainous isekais that I've read so far have followed, which is a girl passes away in her real life and then she gets reincarnated as a villainess in one of the games that she used to play, and this one is a otome RPG game. She gets reincarnated as this girl called Eumelia. Eumelia, I think that's how you say her name, Eumelia, and she later becomes an evil lord, basically becomes the hidden boss. So she is also like a villain in the story and a boss that needs to be defeated at the end of the story by the main protagonist. And her parents kind of abandoned her, even though she's like from a noble family, and then she ends up just pretty much going around defeating monsters and just trying to gain some power and level up. And then in this world, when they enter school, they end up measuring what level they are. And usually when people start, they're around like level 1 to 5. And then if there are some like stronger nobles, they do end up becoming like level 10. But when she gets measured, she ends up getting level 99. And then obviously everyone is like, did you rig it? Is it something that you did? Did you break the system? That's why you're like pretending that you're level 99. But then throughout the story, she pretty much proves that she is level 99. And then even the king of the land acknowledges her as being level 99. And so then once that happens, everyone pretty much tries to, you know, befriend her and want her to be on their side. And then even the king appoints her and the queen appoints her as someone who will join the party of defeating the demon lord when he ends up resurrecting 2 years later. So there's like a hidden thing there, and there are like 4 or 5 main guys in the story that are basically infatuated with the main protagonist of the story. So she's obviously not the main protagonist, but there's this girl called Alicia, and she is the main love interest of this otome game. And she ends up accusing Eumelia as being the demon lord, and there's things that happen there. I like it in terms of the main character is pretty much nonchalant. She's pretty much trying to live a peaceful life, but obviously getting level 99 wasn't really her intention, but it kind of accidentally happened because she was just dungeon crawling and then ended up becoming level 99. At this point in time, none of the characters other than Eumelia are that likable. I find that a lot of the other characters in here, the love interests at the moment, are all a bit like, a bit high and mighty. They initially accused Eumelia of rigging her level score and being like, you can't be level 99. And they tried to like get her expelled from the school because of that. So they're all pretty unlikable. So I kind of hope that there isn't any romance in this. This is definitely one of those series that I wish there wasn't any romance and there was more just like the action element to it. But I am intrigued, and I definitely want to continue the story and see how it develops. I feel like I definitely from this video can tell that I have quite a specific bias towards villainous stories. I seem to just enjoy them even though they pretty much follow a very generic formula, but I eat it up anyways. Like, it's so enjoyable. No surprise there that I like this. Yeah, I think I'll definitely be continuing this one, and I'm not sure how many volumes there are available at the moment. Let me have a look, because I saw some volumes on Blackwell's before, and I don't really know if this is just a manga or if it's based on something else. So it is adapted from a light novel, and there's 6 volumes of the light novel, and the manga has 4 volumes ongoing so far. So yeah, it is an ongoing series, so we'll see how it continues to develop. But yeah, I like this one. So yeah, we're gonna try reading some more today. 5 series left to read for this video, and the ones that are left is Case Files of Jeweler Richard. Then we have As Miss Beelzebub Likes, Lovesick Ellie, konoSuba, and the last K-pop manhwa, which is CHAKHO 7 Fates. So yeah, let's pick. I'm just going to pick all of them in order, and then we'll put them in order of when I need to read them. So the first one I will read is... Okay, we got... Oh, my books just kicked you guys. So the first one we got is Lovesick Ellie, and then the next one is konoSuba. So that's 1, 2. And then the next one is Miss Beelzebub Likes. So that's the third one we're going to read. And then this one is Jeweler Richard. And then obviously the last one is going to be CHAKHO 7 Fates, right? Yeah. And then the last one we're going to read is CHAKHO 7 Fates. Okay, so we got our list here. So the first one is Lovesick Ellie, then konoSuba, As Miss Beelzebub Likes, Jeweler Richard, and then CHAKHO 7 Fates. So that's the order in which we're going to read the rest of the volumes for this video. So we got 5 more left. And yeah, hope you guys have been enjoying this video so far. I know it's quite long, so really appreciate you guys watching. And yeah, we will report back on once we've read some of these throughout the week, because at the moment I think today is a Sunday and I'm a little bit sleepy from working because I worked like 50 hours this week, so I'm really tired. So I don't know how much reading I'll get done today because I pretty much wanted to just stay in bed all day. I pretty much did. I woke up and then I stayed in bed until 2 p.m, which is something I normally don't do, but I did today because I was just so tired from working yesterday. And so I have only been able to read this today, and I might play some games with my friends later, so I might not have much time to read. But yeah, I will report back in the video obviously when I do get some reading done. But yeah, okay, since my last update I have read 2 volumes of manga, and I obviously didn't show you any clips of me reading it because I actually read this one and I pretty much didn't stop reading it until I finished it because I actually really enjoyed this a lot more than I expected. This one I was really worried that with a lot of high school shoujo series I usually don't enjoy them that much at the start, especially because they're a lot of times quite typical, a little bit immature, and obviously because I'm not in high school anymore, the characters don't feel personally relatable to me, so sometimes I have a hard time getting into them. So this one actually focuses on a girl called heretical, and she has a secret Twitter account called lovesick Ellie where she airs her perverted thoughts, I guess, on the internet, and she does it whilst imagining that it's about one of her classmates, this guy called Omi. And to be honest, the tweets aren't that bad. It's pretty much, as you can see here, it says, I'm secretly dating the most popular boy in my grade. A wink at school is code for I love you. Oh no, he's winking at me at lightning speed. Everyone's gonna find out. And it's not that perverted. I guess there are ones that aren't like super innocent. There was one here. Well, this one's not that bad either. There really are infinite possibilities with a josee. Hashtag go pervs. Beware of boys, they're all wolves. Hashtag my first. So personally, I don't think that they're that pervy. It's her just imagining scenarios that are happening with her classmate Omi, and she doesn't really know Omi on a personal level. She's just basing these tweets on kind of an imagination of what she thinks he is. And one day Ellie ends up dropping her phone and Omi ends up finding the phone and sees that the page is on lovesick Ellie, and then he starts to read it and realizes that the guy she is tweeting about seems like he's based on him, and that's how they start to get to know each other and their worlds start to intertwine, because before that they were not friends, they didn't even know each other, they didn't really know each other existed, or he didn't know she existed. And so that's kind of where the story starts, and it's just really, really cute. I really like the communication in this story so far as well, because these two are developing a relationship quite early on. It's definitely fast paced for a typical shoujo story, so I really like that. And they are really quite good at communicating with each other as well, and especially when the guy does something idiotic, he is quite good at acknowledging that he was basically a dick to her and apologizes as well and tries to make it up to her. And that's quite rare to me in like older shoujo stories where guys are like horrible to the main character and then they don't realize it and then they never apologize. So that was also really refreshing, and we're just discovering more about Omi as a character. And with Ellie in itself, she's always had a pretty quiet school life. She kind of never stands out out of the crowd. No one really notices her, so she's never really had any friends. So she is also starting to make friends as well in this volume, which is really, really cute, and she is also really excited about that. So I'm definitely interested in continuing this series, and I'm really glad that I enjoyed it. And I think this one will also be really great as a binge read. So excited about this one. And this one was the first volume that I DNF. So DNF, if you don't know, means did not finish. I got up to chapter 3. Yeah, I got up to chapter 3 and then I didn't finish it. As you can see in this scene, it kind of follows a very typical kind of old school isekai series where there's a loser guy and then he's surrounded by lots of girls, and I don't really know if there's a romance in this at all. He ends up at the point in which I am ends up learning this ability, like a thief kind of ability, and then he ends up like stealing panties and bras and stuff like that, and I was just like, okay, I'm done here. So I DNF'd it, and there is a meme on the internet that really describes my feelings towards this manga as I was reading it, and I'll put the meme here somewhere. But that is how I felt whilst I was reading this. I was like, I'm done here. I'm not going to finish this. I'm not enjoying it. 3 chapters, I feel like, no, not 3 chapters, but 2 chapters, I feel like is enough for me to know that I'm not going to enjoy this. I feel like this definitely doesn't appeal to me, and it's definitely not within my demographic that it's catered towards. And I knew that already, but I got this because a friend of mine who used to support me was really into this series, and so I wanted to give it a shot for them. But I'll be getting rid of this for sure because this shit's so ass. All right. So finally I had time to film. It's been actually probably a few days since my last check-in, and I've been so busy because I was obviously taking a day off work to go to MCM Comic Con, and then I went to Comic Con on Friday, and it was so much fun. A vlog and also a haul will be coming because I bought quite a bit, so get excited for that. But I haven't been able to catch up with you guys for this video because I've been so busy, and I was so tired yesterday as well, and then I had to help out my in-laws at their restaurant because they needed some extra hands. So I was out all day Friday, ended up working on Saturday, and today is Sunday finally, and we have time to film. And I am trying to film a bunch of videos today, so finally I'm filming this kind of outro and sharing with you what I've been reading. So since we last catched up, I read As Miss Beelzebub Likes, and then we read Jeweler Richard, and the last one we read was Seven Fates CHAKHO. And let me do a quick summary of how I felt about the ones that I read. So As Miss Beelzebub Likes, this one focuses on Beelzebub, which is, I think it's also in mythology, and that Beelzebub is a type of demon, and she is Beelzebub and is also the right hand lady of Satan. Considering her status, she looks like really cute and really sweet, and she ends up getting a new underling, this boy, and then he is basically obsessed with Beelzebub and finds her so cute and sweet and stuff. The art style in this manga is really, really pretty, I must admit, but I didn't realize that it was like full coma style, as you can see. Personally, I've never really been able to get into full coma style mangas, mainly because I like it when the story is very much aware of the plot that it's trying to drive, whereas I feel like full coma styles can be a little bit episodic. Sometimes the story can be a little bit disjointed, and that's definitely how I felt about this one. As you can see, she is really cute though, and the fashion style in this is really nice, and I really like the drawings, but I just didn't really connect with the characters that much, and I didn't love them a lot. And personally, I felt like I was more skim reading this volume rather than actually like really enjoying it, because I just wanted to get it read rather than actually reading it to enjoy it. This one wasn't for me personally, but I feel like this might really appeal to a lot more other people, and with the really nice fashion style and drawings, I think a lot of people will enjoy this. But yeah, for me it's not one that I really loved, so I'll probably be getting rid of this. And I have volumes 1 to 4, so hopefully I will upload it all on my Vinted when this video goes out, and you guys can grab it from me. And the next one I read was Jeweler Richard, and I really loved Jeweler Richard actually, and I'm really happy that I liked it, because I actually ended up getting some more volumes from Geeky, because her Forbidden Planet store had them on sale and was 3 for 2. So I was like, oh, let me just make it 3 for 2. And so I ended up buying it, and I'm really glad I liked it, because I shouldn't have done that, but I'm glad I liked it. But this focuses on a boy called Seigi, and he ends up saving this blonde-haired man Richard from these hooligans. As a thank you, Richard is like, if you ever need something, let me know, contact me. And then Seigi finds out that Richard is a jewelry appraiser, is really knowledgeable about jewelry, and Seigi actually needs him because he wants to get a item of jewelry that was passed down from his grandmother appraised, and to kind of find out the history behind it and maybe where it came from, because there is a storyline in here where the grandmother actually stole that piece of jewelry from someone, and he wants to try to find the person who owns it originally so that he can actually return it to the owner. And so Seigi and Richard basically work together to kind of uncover the mysteries behind the piece of jewelry that he has from his grandmother, and also you learn about the grandmother's story and also the story about the person who this jewelry got stolen from. So it's like really cool. I really liked it. And then after that kind of happens, there is a moment in which Richard ends up setting up a shop, and then Seigi helps work there as well and becomes an assistant to that shop, basically making tea. And it's just really cute. And as the story moves along, you end up getting people who come into the shop, the jewelry shop, and you start to learn about their stories as well and why they're there. And I just really like it. I think there's a lot of, I guess, story-driven elements to it, where you learn about loads of different people's circumstances and their reasonings for coming to this store to get their jewelry appraised. And yeah, I just really like it. And you learn a lot about jewelry as well, and just things about jewelry that I never knew about, which is really interesting. And I really like the characters as well. They're all really cool. And yeah, I definitely really like this one, so I'm really glad that I did, and I'll definitely be continuing this one. And the last read we have here is Seven Fates CHAKHO. Hopefully it's not reflecting too badly, but this one actually was the least cheesiest K-pop manhwa that they have, or the ones that I read. And this one focuses on a guy called Zeha. He ends up, I guess someone approaches him and is like, I know what happened to your parents because his parents passed away, and if you want to learn more about what happened, then come to this like specific mountain area. And he kind of gets baited into doing that, and he goes into the mountain, and then he ends up waking up in the hospital with like a scar on his chest, and he has no recollection of what actually happened on the day he went to the mountain. And then he ends up going back there after he recovers to kind of seek out some clues, and then ends up meeting the guardian of that mountain area, and figures out that when he actually went to that mountain area, he kind of opened, I guess, a portal to another world in which beasts called the Pom end up coming through and trying to wreak havoc into their world. And so he kind of is the catalyst to that, and I think his parents were also a catalyst to that as well, and that is the reason why his parents actually ended up passing away. So that's kind of the history behind that. And then he ends up meeting a lot of people along the way, which is probably all the BTS members, and they will end up teaming up together to fight this evil bomb situation. Personally, for me, I felt like the action scenes looked really cool. Let me show you. Like the action scenes look quite cool, but personally, I didn't really enjoy it that much. When I was reading it, I felt like the story it didn't flow that well. And considering I have read a few action-based manhwas already before, like Solo Leveling or Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, you kind of end up comparing those stories a lot to this one. And even like Unholy Blood, that is also focused on action, and it also tells the story of like the history behind the characters as well at the start, and I feel like those are done really well. But this one just kind of jumps you into it. You don't really learn much about Zeha, focuses on one character and then jumps to another character, and obviously something is going to happen that makes all these characters come together and help each other out, but I feel like it's a little bit jumpy at this point. So personally, I think this is not for me. I don't really recognize any of the characters either, even though I know BTS, but I don't really know the characters. I don't really know the band members that well. So I think this one is gonna be an unhaul as well. Sorry. But yes, finally, the vlog is almost done. I think this vlog is gonna be like an hour and something, and I really hope you enjoyed watching me ramble on about all these series for way too long. I really hope you did enjoy, because I really liked filming it. It was fun, and I definitely want to do more of these style of kind of vlog videos, reading vlogs, because I like rambling. I like talking about the series that I like, and I also like talking about series that I don't like, because I personally love watching those type of videos. But yeah, let's do a little recap of everything that we're gonna unhaul and everything that we're gonna keep. So as we predicted, I am going to be getting rid of all 3 of my K-pop manhwa. So if you're interested in any of these, definitely check out my Vinted, which I will link down below. I'm going to be getting rid of I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, because I guess it was fine, but I think I will enjoy it more in a multimedia video movie format. Teen Exorcist also going to be going. This one as well. Wandance, I'm going to read the rest of what I have so far, and then I will see if I want to continue it or not. So that is going to go in the read more till you know pile. This one also I might keep. Because I really did enjoy it, but it's not probably one that I'm going to keep collecting anymore, and I'll probably focus on watching the anime as well. So I'll put it on my maybe pile. I am going to keep the villainess. I'm actually going to be keeping all the villainess isekai ones. So yeah, that was pretty predictable. Then definitely going to keep Lovesick Ellie, because I think this one and Jeweler Richard were my 2 highlights of this video. Really enjoyed both of these, and excited to continue those 2 actually. So if you take any recommendations from this video, then definitely try out those 2 if you've been hesitant about them. As Miss Beelzebub Likes is going in the unhaul pile. Josee is also going to go in the unhaul pile, mainly because I did enjoy it, but I think I will enjoy it more as a movie, and because I've read this now, I don't think I will reread it. And then this one, which is the one that I didn't even finish, will definitely be going in my unhaul. So yeah, here is everything in the unhaul for today. I have 7 volumes that I really enjoyed, so I'm really glad that I finally was able to read these, and also finally able to read some of these ones that I have had on my shelf for many years, which is these 2 big ones especially. And I finally read the K-pop manhwa, so I know that I don't want to continue collecting these anymore, and I feel really glad that I didn't collect any more of the Star Seekers or any more of the DARKMOON, because I would have been quite sad if I had a lot of them and I didn't enjoy them. So we got 9 manga in the unhaul pile, and now that I can get rid of it, give them to someone else who is going to enjoy it more than me. But I'm really happy with the way that this kind of reading vlog has turned out. I've been able to read everything that I said I wanted to read, and also kind of sort out some of my shelves and get rid of stuff to make room for more new exciting things that I want to read in the future. Anyways, this video is way too long already, so I'm sure you're done with me rambling. If you made it to the end of the video and you also watched the whole thing, you guys are my favorites. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys as always, and I will see you again in my next video, which will be MCM related things. So I hope you enjoy those, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.